10:30. Welcome back to another Monday market meetup. Appreciate everybody who's either tuning in live and or going to watch this after the fact. I hope everybody's off to a good Monday so far, starting the month of February off strong. So, speaking of starting the month of February off strong, I have brought in my good friend Joe Smigielski, who is the owner operator of a Goosehead Insurance. Joe and I have connected. Quite a time now, and he's done some deals and transactions for some of my clients. He's been a consultant for me on some really weird and wonky things, and I've just found Joe and his staff and team to be super helpful, super informative, super on the on the dot when it comes to my clients and homeowners insurance needs. So, without further ado, I want to introduce my good friend Joe. And Joe, why don't you introduce yourself a little bit? Tell everybody what it is that you do, how long you've been in the industry, and then we'll hop into the conversation.
Awesome. Well, it's great to meet everybody. Thank you, Ryan, for that awesome introduction. Yes, my name is Joe Smigielski. I've been in the insurance field for about 7 years now and opened up the Goosehead about 2.5, 3 years ago, really looking to provide value to new home buyers. That's kind of what our specialty is, whether it be, for the realtors, lenders. We really want to provide that white glove experience for all of our clients. And really what I found value is not only are we able to do that quite easily, we're able to get these realtors, lenders out of these sticky situations that you guys have kind of found yourselves in this really tough housing market that we're in right now. So that's kind of just what I do and what I found a lot of passion in is just trying to get to the closing table, be a problem solver, and get those deals done.
Yeah, no, awesome, man. And like I said, I can kind of personally vouch for that. You've definitely helped out some of my clients save some serious coins at the closing table. And the more important part of that is, you're finding programs and things for them that are having full coverage for everything that they need with maybe a little bit of a cheaper price point. So is your agency like a single kind of like a single line agency? Like I have a brokerage, I have 17 different lenders that I can shop around from. Is that kind of your style as well? Like you have multiple lines of
100%.
products, right? Okay.
We sure do. We're brokers. We can market just about any single carrier in the state, and it's going to all go through me. You're not going to get outsourced as well. Anything from vacant properties, builders risks, projects, really DTI issues, anything, any pothole, any speed bump that you could come across, we have a market for it. We have a place for it. Just getting the clients cheaper insurance. I know roofs have been a big issue, especially in Michigan, post close. Everything seems fine. They come back, there's an issue, and now they can't find insurance. And it's just a bad experience for the client afterwards because they get sold a home and they're like, well, what the heck? What happened here? What went wrong? So we're able to navigate a lot of those potholes and we're able to kind of get you guys into those markets where, those projects come up, vacant properties and things like that. We're able to find something. Galvanized pipes, those are another big one. Detroit homes, we're able to find a good, affordable market for all those as well.
Awesome, man. Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And that's good. Obviously, I've worked lending wise in both, big retail, small retail, big lender, big broker, small broker. I personally find, everybody rolls their wheel a little bit differently. I find that we do really create and cultivate the best customer client experience with being able to come to us and then offer as many different options as possible and then educating on them, right? So you kind of touched about what I wanted to ask and go into first. Obviously, you mentioned that you help home buyers obtain insurance to be able to protect one of their biggest investments that they're currently making, whether it's their first purchase, their second purchase, an investment home, whatever it might be, right? Um, when people are shopping homeowners insurance, because truth be told, especially if you're a first time home buyer, and honestly, man, even if you've bought a home a couple times, insurance is like you do it once and then you kind of
Mm-hmm.
let it set it and then forget it. You don't really know
Mm-hmm.
much about it, right? So,
Right.
what would you say if someone's shopping for homeowners insurance would probably be, one of the most important things that questions to ask their insurance person that they're trying to get quotes from? What would be like just kind of like the high level things people should look out for and know to ask when they're shopping for an insurance policy?
It's a great question, Ryan, and that is definitely something a lot of people don't know. The one of the few key points I always look at is you want to look at the dwelling coverage. It's definitely one of those fancy buzzwords. It's going to be the full tear down and rebuild of your home. So, like you said, it's the most important investment. You're not wrong. You need to make sure you're covered properly. If your home burns down and they want it's worth 500 and they only have you covered for 300, you're in a pickle. So make sure you know the dwelling. Make sure you have water backup coverage on there as well, especially Michigan homes. That's something I would really look into having. If you have a basement, anything can kind of go wrong, can cause a lot of issues there. And then make sure you take a look at your roof coverage. A lot of people do opt for actual cash value coverages to try to say, hey, I saved you a couple bucks,
Mhm.
but the next time something happens, you feel like you get gypped out on the claim. So I would really look at those three areas just to try to nail those ones home more than any of the other ones for sure. Those are
Mhm.
definitely the things to ask because everything else is going to fall off of the dwelling. Your contents, your personal property, everything's going to kind of be based on that dwelling. So the bigger that number, the more every other coverage will kind of fall into place as well. So those are the three things for sure.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, and I mean, to kind of couple on that, as a lender, our dwelling coverage can't be, less, or has to be a certain amount of whatever they're purchasing, right? Because we don't want one of our clients to be able to purchase a home, and then God forbid something happened and they're underinsured. And now, what a
Right.
lot of people don't necessarily think about or understand as well is that for any mortgage, it's actually the property that's securing that is the collateral. So if it's underinsured, then we're not going to lend on that policy. You got to up that bad boy anyway. So obviously, if you want to get extra coverage, be extra covered, then all good. I would just imagine maybe that means maybe your policy is just a little bit more, but like, whatever comfort level it is to exceed the minimum requirement should be good, right?
And you touched up on something else that's a great point. A lot of times where I found a lot of issues is people will get confused. They might have a $95,000 purchase in Detroit. It might be a nicer home, bigger home, but it's only worth 95,000 and it might be 400 grand to rebuild it. I get a lot of confusion of it's only worth 95. Why are you charging me 400 for the house? And those are two different situations. Location, location, location. If you took that same house worth 90 grand and put it on Lake Michigan in Traverse City, it becomes a 1 point something million dollar house. So
Right.
now we're looking at a different. So I think that's another thing I found a lot of confusion with realtors or clients, and it could go the other way. Why is my house only worth this when I'm buying it for 800,000, it's 400 to rebuild. Sometimes we got to make those adjustments. So that's definitely a great point and things that I've seen a little bit of
Okay.
confusion there for sure.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, listen, that's a great point. Not that I personally review in the eyes the way you would, but I see, homeowners insurance policies with everybody that I do quotes and loans for, right? So, those two things have to be covered and kind of coincide to make sense. So now you had mentioned, working with realtors and buyers and stuff like that. Primarily, as I mentioned to you before, like I want to be able to add value and information that's going to be able to obviously appeal to the clients, the consumers, or who we get to work for every single day and every single transaction. Also, I want to be able to see and help kind of arm everybody that's in our industry, the people that you and I, co-partner with, whether it's a real estate agent, an attorney, a CPA, anybody that's going to be able to refer us something, whether it's a refinance or a purchase, to be able to have and speak educatedly enough on that topic of kind of getting them ready to get ready, right? So, pretend maybe I'm a real estate agent. I'm coming to you, say, Joe, I got a buyer's consultation. It's the first time they're buying a house. I know that homeowner insurance is a thing. What would be a good kind of a good couple of arrows in the quiver or tools in the toolbox, so to speak, that you could give me or anybody that's a realtor to be able to kind of help guide their potential client down the path of setting up proper expectations, knowing what to look for, knowing what to ask, knowing what's going to be needed, timeframes, and all that other stuff.
I mean, that's another great point to kind of help them with the smooth process. So really how I would kind of guide realtors, because they're the first step of this whole process is just to try to get them down that line ASAP is get it taken care of. Have them call me, have them call somebody, have them start getting that taken care of, have them start to really jump on that ball right away because underwriting can take a week or two. So that's
Mm-hmm.
one thing where they might want to really, where the inspections are, really get on that because you're going to get an appraisal and they think that's the end all be all, but it doesn't always, the insurance companies don't look at the appraisal, they do their own.
Sure.
So those are the things that really, if you're talking about, and I think I might have misunderstood the question, but that's really where they would want to start. So if you can maybe rephrase that, I could maybe answer it better.
Yeah, so okay, so I'm just starting my home buying journey, right?
Yep.
And I need to obtain, let's say, because honestly, I'm probably not talking to a realist or an insurance agent until I get under contract. Because, and correct me
Sure.
if I'm wrong, it probably isn't going to do me any good to say, hey, Joe, I'm looking around and shopping at houses. I need a quote. Because you're going to be like, well, I need a house to give you a quote, right?
Sure.
Um, okay, so let's say we get under contract. What information would be good for a realtor to tell that person, and for me too, because a lot of times, when they're under contract, I'm talking to my head's conversation this morning already. You need to obtain a homeowner's insurance quote, and the lady he asked me, well, what information am I going to need in order to be able to give this insurance person this quote? So
I see.
what could a realtor tell the buyer? Hey, when you go shopping for homeowners insurance, here's the bullets, right? The checkpoints, and
For
me
sure.
as well, lender, just so you know, you're going to need, the price, the address, whatever it might be. So,
Gotcha.
so what are those things that,
Yep.
we as lenders and realtors can kind of preemptively get those buyers ready for, so that way they just aren't guessing?
Perfect. So that definitely, of course, once you get that address figured out, my favorite thing to ask if to tell realtors is to have the person say, "What is your favorite thing about the home?" And I
Mm,
have found that to be such a personal question, and that clients even stop. And I had a lady even tear up, be like, "No one's asked me that."
mm,
So, what is your favorite thing about the home? And there's two reasons for that. One, it kind of gets them away from that, the regular day of everything. But two, it gets them thinking about what they want covered. So it
sure.
gets them thinking about what's important to them about the home. Maybe it's the finished basement, maybe it's the yard, maybe it's the deck, maybe it's something special about the home that attracted them that they want to make sure that they have coverage first of all. But really, what they're going to need is, of course, the new address of the home, a little bit of information, just your first, last name, date of birth, and really, it's just simple as that. Most of us we're able to kind of go after the home on its own. But as long as they know kind of going into it, okay, I have at least three things I want to look at. I have an idea of how much my house is worth. I have an idea of what I want covered. Then they can kind of have a direction of, all right, I know what I need my insurance guy to kind of do. And then just it's basic client information from there. It's name, date
Okay,
of birth, who you want on there. I always recommend doing the auto too, save a little bit extra,
sure.
um, because your address will change. So when you go
Right.
to move from one zip code to the other, you're gonna have to let your auto insurance know, and then I've seen prices increase in that whole thing. So those are some things to kind of get prepared. I would definitely look in those areas. But really, from the insurance standpoint, we make it very easy on you and on the
Okay. Yeah.
realtors and on them.
Yeah, so I mean, here I am because obviously I'm a homeowner. I have insurance policies and all this other fun stuff, and I'm thinking to myself like, man, do I need to know the exact square footage of their house, how many bedrooms, how many rooms, how many like what's all this other stuff, what's the size of my lot? So basically, it's like, hey, if I have the address, a little bit of my personal information, you can get
Mhm.
together a pretty substantial quote from that information because you have information or you have technology to be able to get information about the house as long as you have the address that make the
Absolutely.
quote. Okay, awesome, man,
Yep.
awesome. Well, that definitely does
Absolutely.
make it easy. And then how about once they get into kind of the process? Because one of the big things that I get asked a ton is like, hey man, you're talking about this effective date for my homeowner's insurance policy, and we're
Yes.
closing in March. But I just talked to Joe, and he said our cars are going to get started, like this next week or whatever it might be, right? So can you kind of help just really in a 1,000 foot view smooth that process out for people, because a lot of people are afraid of like switching from one insurance provider to
Yes.
another, their cars starting at one point but their house starting at another point, and how does that work?
That's another great point. So with the effective dates, at least with what we do here, we take all that pressure off of you. Closing dates, as you know, Ryan, change. They move up, they get pushed back. There's so many different variables to that. All I need to know is when is it changing? Hey, we're moving up, we're moving back. And I know you do such a great job of communicating that so we take care of all of that on the back end for them right away. In terms of the car insurance, you're not penalized if it starts on different dates. It does not matter as long as you kind of have them bundled together at some point.
Mm,
That's what they want to see. Now, with me, I can always adjust that. Okay, we can fix that. If some people like them all to be on the same date, but at the same point, we can make them start on different dates. It would still coincide where the auto might start here and then the home might start there. But we want to line that up on closing. So, and even if that closing date changes, I'm able to go in there for the auto insurance and make that change for them. Hey, new home purchase. They don't have insurable interest yet. We need to move it back a day or two, and we're able to make that adjustment.
Gotcha.
very
I got you.
painless. And then the client
Yeah.
really didn't even noticed that on their end.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, because listen, I mean, I have a family. We have several cars. I have a daughter who's about to start driving. We're gonna have to add them,
Oh
and then
boy.
all the way, right, right. Yeah. So I'm terrified, but we have all these other moving parts. So being able to kind of alleviate that, things start here, here, and here, and all these different start dates for essentially one thing in the blanket of insurance would be helpful. And then I have one more question to wrap things up before we kind of come to a close here. So rates are starting to come down a little bit, right?
Mhm.
And I've been able to be lucky enough to help some folks with some refinances. And a lot
Nice.
of times when we refinance people, we like to either have what's called an escrow carryover, or a lot of times we'll close out their current escrow, start a new escrow with a new effective date, and all this other stuff.
Mhm.
Assuming they don't change a policy, for you, if I said, "Hey Joe, I got somebody that's your client right now, same house, here's going to be like," does anything have to change for you in insurance? Like we close one, is it a new policy? How do refinances work when it comes to kind of resetting up their escrows when we're working with you in tandem with lender and insurance?
Oh man, those are probably my favorite because at least on my side and the clients, they are the easiest. So unless
Okay.
it's a loan, like maybe if it needs to satisfy the loan, like, hey, we need to raise replacement cost up 20 grand or whatever to satisfy the loan. Other than that, there's no changes that need to be made. The client doesn't even, as long as they're aware we're making this refi, which they always are, you just give me the mortgage clause loan number. I put it in, give you the updated documents, and there's nothing that they have to do. We'll CC them so they know it's all getting done. But
Yeah.
other than that, there's no change of insurance. They don't have to jump through any hoops. That's kind of what I'm here for, to take that off their plate for
Awesome. Yeah. So it's not like they have to re-sign, a whole new
them.
insurance package or new insurance policy. Their start dates don't really necessarily change or anything like that, right?
Nothing changes. We just make what's called an endorsement to the mortgage. It's very common. Nothing changes. We don't need a whole new policy. We just swap out Rocket Mortgage for United Wholesale and throw in some new numbers, and they don't even notice a difference. You don't have to sign anything, no quotes, nothing. It's just we keep rolling.
Love it, man. Well, that is definitely a lot easier than I thought. What the hell's
Thanks.
going on in my mind? I'm like, man, this is like a rabbit, getting pulled out of a hat magic trick. So, well, listen, man, definitely some really good talking points and things that to consider, and some good bullet points for people to be able to be effective and educating people prior to them getting to you. Because one of my big things is, and why I like to be able to have different people in different parts of the real estate process in as guests here is I am a lender. So I'm staying in my lender lane, your insurance, you stay in your insurance lane, vice
Yeah.
versa, right? So but however, we get asked questions about every single part. So we want to be able to speak educatedly enough to where we can satisfy that and then connect them with a trusted professional, but not get ourselves in hot water and kind of, cross lanes and overstep, right? So
Mhm.
kind of in closing, man, I would love to just kind of ask you, hey, any last thoughts, any last tips, tricks, hints, anything of value that you want to be able to add. And then, of course, we're going to be able to put your contact information on the YouTube link and on some of that other stuff as well. But just want to wrap it up. Anything else value that you think is important in obtaining homeowners insurance for a purchase or refinance in 2026?
Sure. I think one thing to kind of leave with that I maybe missed on was your deductible on your home. Make sure you take a
Mm-hmm.
peek at that. That's going to come into terms a big, effect of your price, higher deductible, lower price, but also when you make a claim. So keep an eye on that. But I know most people are pretty good about that. But
Yep.
really, don't be shy to shop. It's not a painful process if you find the right person. It's not a painful. It's free. So it doesn't hurt your credit, doesn't hurt so just kind of get out there, make sure you're covered, just take a peek at it. I know it's not
Yeah.
fun or it's not, but now's the perfect time of year with taxes coming up end of the year. Just take a quick peek. And at your rates too, for your refis too. Now's the perfect time
Yep.
just to kind of review everything and just kind of see that you're in a good spot.
Awesome, man. Yeah, don't be shy to shop. I love that. It's a great piece of advice there, man. Well, Joe, as always, brother, I appreciate you. Thanks for your
Thank you.
time. Definitely look forward to doing some more business in 2026 and see how many people we can help get into the house and save some money insuring them at the same time.
That's it, man. Thank you so much, Ryan, for everything, and thank you for having me on. This was great.
Yeah, of course, brother. Yep. Have a great rest of your day, man. If you guys need anything else, you know where to find us. And then we'll post this on the, what is it, 9th on Monday. And then we'll put it out for consumption then. But until then, give us a call if you need anything. Thanks again for joining us, man. I'll talk to you soon.